The Cleveland Browns, a franchise that has lived through decades of turbulence, find themselves once again in the center of a storm. But this time, it's not about front office mismanagement, coaching firings, or endless rebuilds. It's about one of the most sacred positions in football, the quarterback. And right now, that quarterback controversy is threatening to tear the fan base apart while putting head coach Kevin Stefanski under fire like never before. The noise is deafening, the criticism unrelenting, and the chants from the fans have turned into something closer to a demand. They want Shadur Sanders, and they want him now. It all started quietly, as quarterback battles often do in preseason. Dillon Gabriel entered the spotlight as the presumed front-runner, while Shadur Sanders was framed as the project, the exciting name, the fresh face, the one who needed time before being trusted with the offense. But then the preseason games came and the story began to flip. Gabriel's play was serviceable. Sure, he wasn't a complete disaster. He moved the ball at times. He showed flashes of control, but the mistakes were glaring. The costly fumble, the missed reads, the inability to seize the moment when the lights burned brightest. In contrast, Shedeur stepped onto the field with poise. The moment didn't overwhelm him. Instead, it seemed to fuel him. Under the heavy spotlight, he reminded everyone why he had been hyped for so long, and he left fans wondering whether the Browns were wasting time with Gabriel when a more exciting option was sitting right there. What truly ignited the flames, however, wasn't just the play on the field, it was the words off of it. Dillon Gabriel, perhaps frustrated with the mounting comparisons, let his emotions get the better of him. In a moment that should have been about leadership and uniting the team, Gabriel made a remark that cut deep. He brushed off Shadur Sanders as an entertainer, a comment that might have sounded harmless in isolation, but carried far too much history and context to be overlooked. It was eerily similar to the rhetoric used against Sanders during his time at Colorado, when opposing coaches dismissed his success as nothing more than a byproduct of hype and attention. Back then, Shedeur responded by silencing critics on the field. And now, as Gabriel's words echoed, fans and analysts alike immediately drew the parallel. It wasn't just a poor choice of words, it was a direct insult to Sanders' legitimacy. Gabriel tried to walk it back, of course. He called it a misunderstanding, a miscommunication, a slip of the tongue that was never meant to be taken as a shot at his teammate. But by then, the damage was done. Shannon Sharp, never one to hold back, blasted the explanation as weak and transparent. In his view, Gabriel said what he meant, and the backpedal was nothing more than damage control once the backlash hit. Chris Canty echoed that sentiment, arguing that leadership is tested not just in how you perform on the field, but how you handle yourself in front of the cameras. Shedeur, in his first preseason outing, carried himself like a professional, poised, calm, and accountable. Gabriel, meanwhile, looked rattled and defensive, making excuses instead of showing the maturity expected of the face of a franchise. And that, more than anything else, is why the fans are so loud right now. They don't just see a difference in talent, they see a difference in character, in leadership, in composure. They see Shadur Sanders as someone who is ready for the weight of the job, while Gabriel still looks like he's struggling to carry it. The contrast could not be more stark. As this firestorm rages, Kevin Stefanski finds himself trapped in the middle. At every press conference, the questions come fast and sharp. Who will be the starter? Is there a timeline? Is Shadur Sanders moving up the depth chart? And every time, Stefanski's answers only make things worse. He stalls, he deflects. He buys time with vague phrases like, "We'll decide in a couple of days," or "We do what the players need." But the fans aren't fooled. They see hesitation. They see a coach afraid to commit, and they see a man who knows he's under siege, trying desperately not to get pinned down. It's a dangerous position for Stefanski to be in. The Browns fan base is not patient, and they never have been. This is a city that has lived through heartbreak after heartbreak, quarterback after quarterback, rebuild after rebuild. They're tired of waiting. They're tired of excuses, and now that they've tasted what Shadur Sanders might bring to the field, they don't want to settle for less. Each vague answer from Stefanski feels like another insult, another example of the organization ignoring the will of the people who live and breathe for this team. The irony is that this debate has grown far beyond preseason football. It's not just about who plays better in August. It's about leadership. It's about accountability. It's about respect. Dillon Gabriel had the chance to win over the locker room and the fans with his play and his words, and he squandered it with careless remarks and shaky performances. Shadur Sanders, on the other hand, has turned every opportunity into a statement. Even when the pressure mounted, even when the media circled him like sharks, he never flinched. That maturity, paired with undeniable flashes of talent, has made the calls for him to start louder than anyone could have predicted just a few short weeks ago. And here's the thing, the national media is noticing. This isn't just a Cleveland conversation anymore. When Chris Canty and Shannon Sharpe dedicate segments to the Browns quarterback battle, when comparisons are drawn to high-profile college football controversies, when analysts openly say, the rookie has earned the right to move up, you know the story has gone national. The Browns aren't just fighting internal battles anymore. They're being scrutinized on every platform, and every decision Stefanski makes will be dissected under the harshest of lights. The bigger question now becomes this: how much longer can Stefanski resist? He's running out of excuses, and he knows it. Each time Gabriel stumbles, each time Sanders shines, the balance tips further. And once the locker room begins to lean, once players themselves start believing that Shedeur gives them a better chance, the head coach's hands will be tied. Because nothing erodes authority faster than ignoring what everyone else can plainly see. Gabriel, for his part, has tried to repair the damage. He's softened his tone, offered clarifications, attempted to rebuild his image. But leadership isn't just about fixing mistakes after they happen. It's about not making those mistakes in the first place. And right now, every time Gabriel speaks, it feels reactive rather than confident. In contrast, Sanders doesn't need to defend himself. His play speaks. His composure speaks. His silence even speaks, as fans rally to his side without him ever needing to fan the flames. What was once a quarterback competition has now become a referendum on leadership, on respect, and on whether the Browns have the courage to embrace change when it's right in front of them. The fan base has spoken, the analysts have spoken, and even the national conversation has started to shift. The pressure on Kevin Stefanski has reached a boiling point, and there may be no turning back. So here we are, a franchise at the crossroads. A coach caught between loyalty to his plan and the rising tide of public demand. A veteran quarterback whose words betrayed him, and a rookie whose composure might just make him the future of the Browns. The drama is unfolding in real time, and everyone is watching. But the question now is not whether Shadur Sanders deserves his chance. It's whether Kevin Stefanski will listen before it's too late. What do you think? Is Stefanski buying time because he truly believes Dillon Gabriel is the right choice? Or is he stalling while the pressure mounts? Should Shadur Sanders be handed the keys to the offense right now, or does Gabriel deserve one last opportunity to prove himself? And what about those comments? Were they a genuine miscommunication or a revealing glimpse into how Gabriel really feels? The debate isn't slowing down anytime soon, and we want to hear where you stand. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Browns quarterback controversy, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this unfolding drama.